Elon Musk's transgender daughter, Vivian Jenna Wilson, has hit back at her father after Musk stated that Wilson was dead and killed by the woke mind virus in a recent interview with Jordan Peterson. First, we'll give you the context of Musk's comments, and then we'll get to Wilson's response. Here's what Musk told Peterson. Take a look.
So my son Xavier is dead, killed by the woke mind virus. It happened to one of my older boys. I was essentially tricked into signing documents for one of my older boys, Xavier. This is before I had really any understanding of what was going on, and we had COVID going on, and so there was a lot of confusion. I was told, Xavier might commit suicide if he.
That was a lie right from the outset.
It wasn't explained to me that puberty blockers are actually just sterilization drugs. Anyway, and so I lost my son essentially. They call it dead naming for a reason.
Yeah,
all right. So the reason it's called dead naming is because your son is dead.
Musk also posted this on X. Xavier was born gay and slightly autistic, two attributes that contribute to gender dysphoria. I knew that from when he was about 4 years old, and he would pick out clothes for me to wear like a jacket and tell me it was fabulous, as well as his love of musicals and theater. But he was not a girl. And of course, he's dead naming his daughter. He's misgendering his daughter. But before we get into the context here, what do you both make of Elon Musk going to Jordan Peterson to just trash his daughter? It just feels like a very odd thing for somebody in that high profile of a position to do. Mondale, what do you make of this?
Hey, don't scroll away. Come back. Because before the video continues, we just want to urge you to lend your support to TYT. You power our honest reporting. You do it at tyt.com/team, and we love you for it.
First of all, this is disgusting TV, right? Like this idea that someone is joking about taking their life because of their identity and what they're dealing with is something that no one should do, let alone your parents should take part in this. I think Elon Musk needs to come off of whatever drugs he's dancing with right now. I don't see anything beneficial for his family or anybody for doing this interview. At this point, like I love the fact that now we get to associate how these people who swear that they care so much about family now being back because there's $45 million he promised to Trump. We get to just tie this to Trump too. Like I'm here for all of that, knowing that it is not a laughing matter because there's a real person that's being talked about and called dead from some kind of virus that is not a virus, and it is absolutely ridiculous for Elon Musk to be supposedly the smartest man on earth and saying dumb stuff like puberty blockers are sterilization. And I can't stand his voice, and when he's opening his mouth, it reminds me of how disgusting billionaires are.
Yeah, so I have a few points to make about this in regard to engaging in this interview and trashing his daughter. I'm loyal almost to a fault, and I'm especially loyal when it comes to family. Everyone has family issues. Airing it publicly, I find so disgusting. And something as personal as this, something as fraught as it's treated in conservative media, I would not have done this. And I can't believe he doesn't see what a bad idea that was and how disrespectful it is to his own child, right? Like, look, I try to meet people with a little bit of grace, even when I vehemently disagree with them. And so for some people, it's hard for them to accept the identity of their children, right? If they don't agree with the identity, if they don't understand it, if they're ignorant about it. But how about you deal with that privately rather than trashing your own child publicly on Jordan Peterson's podcast? Okay, so putting that aside, the other thing that I'll say is he seems to be under the impression that his daughter was tricked, that his daughter was somehow indoctrinated, that his daughter doesn't know what she's doing, and that there was like some sort of illness that was injected into her. And as a result, she sees herself in the wrong way. And again, how about you take the time to actually sit down and get to know your daughter, understand who she is, what motivates her, what her dreams are made of. Like, don't work this out with Jordan Peterson on his podcast. And I feel awful that she's going through this because it's so high profile, and her identity is a very personal matter, and she doesn't deserve this, at all. The other thing that I'll say is, okay, puberty blockers are not sterilization pills. There are sometimes side effects to them. And I think that it would be wrong to treat puberty blockers as if they're totally safe, totally reversible. There are potentially side effects, and it's important for people to know about that. And if this issue arises within your family, make sure you're knowledgeable about it, and you know your research, you're talking to doctors, and you're getting good advice. But to just flat out refer to it as like a sterilization medication is also completely false. There are side effects, but the point of it isn't to sterilize people.
I mean, all drugs, of course, have side effects, and I think I think if I'm hearing you right, it's just he is misconstruing that transition process and making it seem reckless. And I think from what we gather, what we can tell, and we'll get into the response, it seems like proper precautions, talking to doctors, all the steps were followed there. So you also pointed out he could have had a conversation with his daughter. And we're learning more about where Elon Musk was during this process, because Vivian, his daughter, sat down with NBC News for an exclusive after Elon Musk made these comments. And she said of him, Elon was cold, he was quick to anger, he is uncaring and narcissistic. Wilson stated that growing up, Musk was rarely present in her life, but when he was around, he would often berate her. She said, I was in 4th grade. We went on this road trip that I didn't know was actually just an advertisement for one of his cars. I don't remember which one. And he was constantly yelling at me viciously because my voice was too high. It was cruel. He doesn't know what I was like as a child because he quite simply wasn't there. And in the little time that he was, I was relentlessly harassed for my femininity and queerness. Wilson also disputed her father's claim that he was somehow duped into her medical treatments, saying he was not by any means tricked. He knew the full side effects. It just like what got me earlier in his comments was just, oh, well, when before Vivian transitioned, then going by he didn't or was like into theater and musicals. It's like, so am I. Like, who cares? It's just like a really rigid gender binary that for somebody who professes to be this brilliant mind, that he can't even comprehend that just shows ultimately to what you were saying, Mondale, just what a stupid person he actually is.
And I mean, like, it goes back to the idea that we need to stop looking at billionaires as geniuses and start looking at them as thieves and policy failures, right? Elon Musk did not create Tesla. The 2 guys who did got forced out by Elon Musk and his money. Elon Musk didn't create anything that we're using that's beneficial. Like, he's a thief. And the science also for his space program is science that came from the federal government taxpayer dollars that get loaned to billionaires to make a lot of money. Like so much of the technology we use, i.e. cell phones and et cetera. Here's the disgusting part. The fact that your daughter, your child, has to do a sit-down interview with NBC to combat what you're saying to them should make you feel like a dirty human. You have failed epically as a father if your daughter is combating what you think about them on national TV. I can't say this enough in that, I find, there are some effects, and I think Anna led to this, about puberty blockers, but it's not sterilization. And for him to try to blame it on COVID is disgusting. The idea that we had a lot going on, no ass. We had very little going on during COVID because we were locked in the house. So you should have spent more time figuring it out. That excuse on itself is dumb. And I think these people are just speaking to hear themselves speak. And knowing that he won't be challenged in his interview is the space and why he chose this podcast, because he couldn't even do an interview with his own employee at the time and get challenged a little talking about Don Lemon and without him being uncomfortable completely. And it shows that there's no genius in Elon Musk. There's a coldness that his child had to point out to the world that we already knew existed.
Yeah, the response of his daughter makes it clear to me how ridiculous his allegation about COVID was, right? Because he's just like, oh, I didn't even know what was going on. There was chaos. I signed this paper allowing for the transition to happen, but I didn't know what I was signing because of COVID. No, you weren't even in your daughter's life. You didn't even take the time to get to know your own daughter, and now you're on someone else's show in a very public way, trashing your own offspring. How is that helping the situation? Take the time to get to know your own child. Anyway, that's all I'm saying.
Also, it should be noted, this isn't even the first time he's attacked her. Yep. And the excuse changes every time. I remember he was blaming, I think, the Los Angeles public school system or public schools in California previously in the last wave of attacks against his daughter. Just leave, you clearly don't want to be present and supportive of your child. At least leave her alone. Like, going on some other lunatic's podcast to trash your kid is so unbelievably weird. Like, what a strange person.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.